When a new piece of gear drops, it often feels like you just need it. You have to have it to compete or to level up your craft. I can personally speak to this because I know how easy it is to get caught up in the allure of new cameras and new lenses, gimbals, all of it. But here's the thing, upgrading your gear before you've outgrown it can actually hinder your progress and actually push you in some interesting financial positions. But honestly, every piece of gear has its limitations. However, those limitations can actually teach you how to problem solve, how to adapt, and how to really develop and hone your craft. But if you don't push your current gear to its limits, you'll never actually know what you need next and when it's really time to upgrade. For example, if you're consistently hitting technical limitations where it's affecting your creative vision and execution, then it may be time to upgrade. For instance, my first real camera was the Sony a6400. And I say real camera because I started out shooting music videos and content and client work on an iPhone, and then gradually transitioned over to the Sony a6400. And that transition happened because I was having a conversation with my dad, and he was like, I think you should think about investing in a real camera because you can only show up to shoots with your phone for so long before people start to think, I can do that. Even if they can't produce in the same way that you can, it's still this perception of, well, I have a phone, I can do the same thing. So we had this conversation about, okay, maybe it's time for you to invest in a real camera. Insert the a6400. And the a6400 was great until it wasn't. I started running into issues where it would overheat after 15, 20 minutes of constant filming. I ended up having to purchase like 4 or 5 batteries because the battery I'm filming and I'm watching it rapidly die. And so I'm trying to quickly swap out batteries, and it just became like a headache. So I ended up selling the a6400 and then purchasing the a7 III. And that's working out great because I'm now starting to take on a combination of video and photo clients. And the a7 III is a great hybrid camera. So I'm doing videos, I'm doing photos, and it was just a great time. It worked out well until it didn't. I started using it more so for video, and I started to realize that it wouldn't overheat, but it would just stop. It would cut off filming at 30 minutes, and then you would have to start it back up again. That was not gonna work again for client work. And so at this point, I'm like, okay, now I have to find a dedicated video camera. And so that was another limitation where it's like, okay, I think I gotta do something else to kind of enhance the experience. And so I start looking, and I come across the a7S III, which is to this day one of my favorite cameras. And so I end up buying the a7S III off of eBay. And I also sold my a7 III and a6400 on eBay as well, if you're wondering where you can sell your gear. There's, I'm sure, other places, but I sold mine on eBay. So after I get the a7S III, I start shooting with the a7S III as an A camera, the a7 III as a B camera, and I quickly realized that this isn't gonna work because it's taking me way too long to color correct and color match the footage from both of those cameras, because one shoots in 8-bit, one shoots in 10-bit, and it's like you can tell that one has clearly been shot on a different camera. And so I'm like, okay, here's another limitation where I feel like, okay, I need to upgrade the a7 III to match what's happening with the a7S III. And so I end up ordering the a7 IV. I sell my a7 III, and it matches perfect. And I haven't bought any new cameras since then. I was in 2022. I've had the a7S III and the a7 IV respectively since 2021 and 2022. Now I get to focus on lenses, I get to focus on backdrops, I get to focus on filters, and just these other aspects of filmmaking and being creative that don't revolve around me stressing about a camera and what the latest camera is. We live in a world now in 2025. You may be watching this in 2035, but in 2025, we are now in a place where the playing field is level. Even entry-level cameras match some of the more expensive mirrorless cameras. So unless you're completely leaving the standard content creator mirrorless camera field and you're going into now cinema cameras, everything is kind of at an even playing field, and it's just about what is the most efficient and the most effective for you. There really isn't a need to drop the camera that you currently have and go buy the latest camera just because you feel like you need it. 9 times out of 10 you don't, unless again there's a limitation with what you currently have. So instead of upgrading your camera or your lenses or anything that you feel like you're just getting it because it's new, I would suggest mastering the gear that you currently have. When I got my A6400, it really allowed me to figure out what the symbols on the camera actually meant, what the settings actually meant, how to properly set white balance, how to properly set ISO, what 24 frames per second was and how that was different from 60 frames per second, what shutter speed was. It really allowed me to just figure that out. And once I got that figured out, it's like, okay, cool, I understand that, but now there's some limitations with this camera that I just can't get past. It's actually hindering my workflow and my progress. So now it's time to upgrade. Truthfully, learning ISO, aperture, white balance, those are the things that will make you a better creator regardless of the gear that you're using. And I get it, upgrading your gear feels great. But if you don't know how to use what you currently have, purchasing a new piece of gear, a new camera won't magically make you learn how to use what you currently have or make you a better creator. Your skill will always trump the gear. Prior to entering into the video and photo world, I'd spent the last 15 years plus working in the world of audio production as a music producer, recording artist, audio engineer, all things audio related. And I have been using the same mixer, the same microphone, the same software, the same keyboard for the last 15 plus years. And the difference between what my sound and my music and my recording sounded like before versus now, it's just the level of knowledge that I have. It's actually crazy to me to hear some of the work that I produced back then with the same gear, and it sounds so different now because I have a new perspective. I have a new skill set because I've continued to learn what frequencies are and what things to pull from a song and what things to pull from audio and what things to enhance in audio. And so that's what's actually made me a better recording engineer, a better recording artist, by focusing on the actual skill set and not just the gear. So before you add another piece of gear to your cart, ask yourself, have I really outgrown what I'm currently using? Because if you focus on mastering the tools you have now, you'll not only save money, you'll be more confident, you'll be more skilled, and you'll be ready when the time does come for you to upgrade. So as always, thank you all for taking the time out to watch. Be sure to do all the YouTube things, like and subscribe and turn on notifications. And do me another favor, let me know in the comments what skill you're working on mastering right now. And to help with that, there's a book called Mastery by Robert Greene. I'll link it in the description. I think it would be something that you'll enjoy if you are in the space of trying to focus on mastering your skills and your gifts. I think it'll be a dope read for you. So I'll link that in the comments. But again, as always, I appreciate you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.